Welcome to Let's Run It Back into another edition of our exploration into very special episodes. You know, those episodes from our favorite shows where they took a break from the laughs and feel-good moments to tackle some real, often heavy topics. This is part 2 of our series, and this time we're focusing on live action shows that left an unforgettable impact with their more serious episodes. In case you missed part 1, we covered some memorable animated shows that hit us right in the feels. But for today, we're diving into those live-action sitcoms and dramas that dare to get real with us. From sitcoms that typically had us laughing every week, to dramas that pulled no punches, these episodes address serious issues like violence, abuse, addiction, and even death. And don't worry, there will be more animated episodes coming. Part 3 will return to cartoons, and I'll most likely continue going back and forth between live-action and animated shows with each part. So, if you have any favorites, animated or live action, that you want to see covered, drop them in the comments below. All right, let's dive into it.
I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air." I whistled for a cab and when it came near, the license plate said,
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Papa's got a brand new excuse. First up is an episode from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that took us all by surprise with its emotional depth. Papa's got a brand new excuse. Up until this point, Fresh Prince had successfully blended humor with important lessons on growing up, family, and race. But this particular episode took the show's emotional impact to a whole new level. In this episode, Will's estranged father comes back into his life after a 14-year absence, promising to reconnect. Will, who had been raised mostly by his Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil, is eager for this new relationship. However, his hopes are shattered when his father bails on him yet again. What follows is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes in sitcom history, as Will breaks down, asking Uncle Phil, "How come you don't want me, man?" It's an unforgettable moment not only because of the raw emotion Will Smith delivers, but also because it touches on the very real issue of absent fathers and the pain and confusion it can leave behind. The scene is so powerful because it feels real, and it left an indelible mark on anyone who watched it.
Miller played.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days.
All in the Family. Edith's 50th birthday. For a show known for its biting humor and satire, All in the Family did not shy away from handling difficult subjects. Edith's 50th birthday is a prime example of this. This 2-part episode revolves around Edith Bunker being assaulted in her own home by a man pretending to be a police officer. What made this episode stand out, even by today's standards, was how it tackled the issue of assault. It showed how even someone as kind and unassuming as Edith could be targeted, and it handled the traumatic aftermath with sensitivity and realism. While the show was known for its laughs, this episode was a chilling reminder of the dangers women face, even in the comfort of their own homes. This episode was groundbreaking for its time, as it portrayed a topic that was rarely addressed on TV in the 1970s. It opened the door for future shows to tackle issues of violence against women and the emotional scars that follow.
It's a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene.
Family Matters, The Gun. Moving on to Family Matters, another sitcom that wasn't afraid to take on serious issues when needed. The Gun was a particularly bold episode, dealing with gun violence in schools, a topic that unfortunately remains relevant today. In the episode, Laura Winslow becomes scared for her safety after a fellow student is shot. Her fear drives her to consider buying a gun for protection, and she even goes as far as holding it in her hands, imagining how it might help her feel safer. However, after a heartfelt discussion with her father, Carl Winslow, and other family members, she decides against it. To help raise awareness and discourage gun ownership among teens, Laura organizes a gun turn-in program at her school, encouraging students to surrender their firearms for safety. The episode sent a strong message about the dangers of guns, especially in the hands of young people, and the importance of finding nonviolent ways to resolve conflicts. At a time when school shootings were becoming more common, Family Matters took the risk of addressing the issue head-on, reminding us that even in our sitcoms, we weren't completely removed from the harsh realities of the world. Full House, Silence is Not Golden. Full House was usually known for its heartwarming moments and family-centered humor, but Silence is Not Golden took the show in a different direction. In this episode, Stephanie's classmate Charles confides in her that he's being physically abused at home. Charles makes Stephanie promise not to tell anyone, placing her in a difficult situation. As the episode unfolds, Stephanie wrestles with keeping her friend's secret, but ultimately decides to tell an adult, realizing that silence only enables further harm. The episode ends with social services intervening, and Charles gets the help he needs. The message here was clear. When it comes to abuse, staying silent is never the answer. The show handled the topic with care, showing young viewers that it's okay to speak up when something is wrong, even if you're scared or don't want to break a promise. Saved by the Bell, Jessie's song. Who could forget Jessie Spano's infamous breakdown in Saved by the Bell? Jessie's song is often remembered for the meme-worthy line, "I'm so excited, I'm so scared." But the episode deals with a serious issue, substance abuse. In this case, Jessie's dependence on caffeine pills. Jessie, a high-achieving student, feels overwhelmed by the pressure to perform academically and as part of her music group. In an attempt to keep up, she starts taking caffeine pills, believing they'll help her stay on top of everything. However, the pills begin to take a toll on her mental and physical health, leading to the infamous breakdown. The episode may seem a bit over the top in hindsight, but for a young audience, it was a clear warning about the dangers of substance use and the pressure to succeed. It showed that even someone as seemingly perfect as Jessie could succumb to unhealthy coping mechanisms when the pressure becomes too much. House MD, Simple Explanation. House MD may have been a medical drama known for its snarky, cynical lead character, but Simple Explanation left many viewers shocked and heartbroken. In this episode, Dr. Lawrence Kuttner, one of House's team members, takes his own life, leaving both the characters and the audience struggling to understand why. The show's title, Simple Explanation, refers to the fact that sometimes there is no simple explanation for why someone would take their own life. Kuttner's death comes as a complete surprise to his colleagues, who didn't see any obvious signs that he was struggling. The episode handles the aftermath with emotional sensitivity, showing how suicide affects not just the person who dies, but everyone left behind. It was a devastating episode that reminded viewers of the importance of mental health and the need to check in on loved ones, even when everything seems fine on the surface. It also touched on the often unspoken reality that not all struggles are visible.
Different strokes to move the world, yes it does, it takes different strokes to move the world.
Diff'rent Strokes, The Bicycle Man. Diff'rent Strokes wasn't afraid to go dark when it needed to, and The Bicycle Man is perhaps one of the most unsettling episodes in TV history. In this two-part episode, Arnold and his friend Dudley are preyed upon by a local bicycle shop owner who tries to lure them into inappropriate situations. The episode was a stark warning to young viewers about the dangers of trusting strangers, and it dealt with the issue of child in a way that hadn't been seen before on network TV. It was a difficult episode to watch, but it was also an important one, as it taught kids to recognize warning signs and encourage them to speak up if something didn't feel right.
Streaks on the china never mattered before. Who cared when you drop kick your jacket as you...
Mr. Belvedere, Wesley's friend. In Wesley's Friend, Mr. Belvedere took on the sensitive topic of HIV and AIDS, which was still a highly stigmatized subject in the 1980s. In this episode, Wesley's classmate is diagnosed with HIV, and the other children, as well as their parents, react with fear and ignorance. Wesley, however, doesn't see his friend any differently and continues to spend time with him despite the stigma. The episode was a brave attempt to dispel myths about HIV and AIDS during a time when the public was still largely uneducated about the disease. It promoted compassion and understanding, urging viewers to look beyond the fear and see the person, not the illness.
Maybe the world is blind, or just a little unkind. Don't know.
Punky Brewster. Accidents happen. Punky Brewster wasn't always the lighthearted, colorful show it appeared to be. In the episode Accidents Happen, the show deals with the aftermath of the Challenger space shuttle explosion, an event that shook the nation. Punky and her classmates watched the launch at school, only to witness the tragic disaster unfold on live TV. The episode captures the shock and confusion that followed the real-life event as Punky and her friends struggle to understand how something so tragic could happen. It's a heavy episode that reflected the nation's grief, showing that even in a children's show, real-world events can impact young minds in profound ways. Accidents Happen wasn't just about the tragedy itself, but about how kids cope with sudden, unexpected loss and the complex emotions that come with it.
He's got it going on. Cooper, gonna tear the house down.
Hangin with Mr. Cooper. Increase the Peace. In Hangin with Mr. Cooper's episode, Increase the Peace, the character Irvin finds himself threatened by a local gang member, a situation that brings a harsh reality into his life and the lives of those around him. The episode dives deep into the dangers of gang violence and how it impacts not just the individuals involved, but their entire community. Mark Cooper steps in to intervene and offer guidance, trying to steer Irvin away from the violence that's lurking on the streets. Near the end of the episode, tragedy strikes as the violence escalates. Irvin's girlfriend, who is completely uninvolved in the gang activity, is accidentally killed. This devastating moment highlights the random, senseless nature of gang violence and serves as a sobering reminder of how quickly lives can be torn apart by it. Mark's message throughout the episode, urging the students to increase the peace rather than feed into the cycle of violence, becomes even more profound as the tragedy unfolds. This episode, while heartbreaking, stands out as a powerful call for peace and nonviolence, especially within communities affected by gangs. And there you have it, a deep dive into some of the most impactful live action episodes that weren't afraid to take on serious real-world issues. From family sitcoms to dramas, these very special episodes made a lasting impression on viewers, reminding us that TV isn't always just about entertainment. It can also be a tool for education, reflection, and sometimes healing. In Part 3, we'll be circling back to the world of animated shows to look at how cartoons tackled similarly tough topics. As I mentioned earlier, I'll probably go back and forth between live action and animated shows with each new part. So let me know in the comments if there's a particular episode you think should be covered. Until then, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you're enjoying these deep dives. And as always, keep the nostalgia alive.